Hello everyone, welcome back to Newsroom. I'm Chella Smith with your Middle East, U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays, and if I'm not here, the roundtable will be here for me, bringing you the latest on reforms and economics of Iraq based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. We do this weekly review and it's based off our interests. Thank you everybody for joining me. Let's get right into this week's headlines. Guys, we're going to start our stories this week from July 11th, which is today. The U.S. tariff targets 18 nations, including Iraq. Tariff tensions are rising. In a sharp policy shift, the Trump administration has imposed tariffs for up to 30% on imports from 18 countries, including Iraq, Algeria, and Libya. While Iraq's $4.5 billion oil export remains exempt, other Iraqi goods face potential duties. The U.S. imports from Iraq recently rose to 212,000 barrels a day, highlighting continued American resilience on Iraqi crude. Although Iraqi lawmakers like the MP Al-Kazimi says that impacts will be limited, this move underscores growing U.S. concerns over trade imbalances. President Trump's letter to Iraq emphasizes that Iraqi companies investing in the U.S. would be exempt from tariffs, an invitation some economists see as a chance to diversify Iraq's economy through U.S. market access. And the IMF warns Iraq dangerous economic paths. The IMF issues warning. The International Monetary Fund has issued a stark warning to Iraq. Excessive reliance on oil revenues, booting the salaries and pension spendings threaten the nation's future. The non-oil sector growth has plummeted from 13.8% in 2023 to just 2.5% in 2024. If unchecked, the fiscal deficit could reach 9.2% of GDP by 2026. With minimum productions in non-oil sectors, Iraq faces a critical crossroad requiring urgent reforms, diversification, and public expenditure discipline. The PKK begins disarmament aimed regional support. PKK lays arms. What does that mean? In a historical development, the PKK fighters have begun surrendering weapons, with ceremonies held in Sulaymaniyah, Iraq, after a public call for leaders Abdullah Öcalan. Over 30 fighters participated in the initial phase, supervised by officials and international observers. Both the U.S. State Department and Turkey ruling parties welcomes the move as a major step towards a terror-free region. The peace and diplomatic society groups requesting the PKK members declare their transition to peaceful democratic activism, emphasizing their belief in Öcalan's political visions and the rejection of armed struggles. Iraq's 106.7 reserves. Is it power or is it illusion? Frozen financial freedom. With 106.7 billion in foreign reserves, Iraq ranks third in the Arab world. However, most of these reserves are held in U.S. banks, primarily the Federal Reserve, with limited access for development or emergency projects without U.S. approval. Economist Howder Al-Sheikhs confirms that while these wealth is impressive on paper, fragile governance, legal instability, and foreign dependency from benefiting the average citizen. Iraqis continue to suffer from poor services, unemployment, and high prices, raising the question, when will the money serve the people? Oil for pay, oil salary, standoff. Sarwa Aduwaha confirms that Baghdad will send 1 month's salary to the Kurdistan regional employees, but only if the region resumes oil exports and accepts the new terms, including centralized salary control, while the Kurdish oil production is declared at 282,000 barrels a day. Aduwaha claims actual output is higher. Talks are ongoing with a final decision that was expected Tuesday. Iraq trims debt with new plan. Debt relief begins. The Iraqi government has started reducing its internal debt 85 trillion dinars and external debt of 54.6 billion through a plan based on repayment, restructuring, and revenue growth. Experts say that Iraq's debt to GDP ratio is safe and the country should leverage its resources and low debt risk to attract investors and launch over 1,000 strategy projects. Speaking about those salaries, Parliament moves on salary resolution earlier this week. Parliament pressed unity. Speaker Mohammed al-Mashhanani met Kurdish leaders in Erbil, urging that Kurdish salaries to depoliticize and resolve within constitutional framework. Leaders agreed to submit joint proposals to Baghdad, affirming that the salary payments should be linked to political disputes. Solutions are expected to surface this week. Inflation drops and gold rises. Stable monetary indicators. Iraq recorded a 21% drop in inflation and an increase in gold reserves from 17.8 trillion to 21.2 trillion dinars in Q1 2025. The central bank credits controlled money supply, imports driven plus declines, and gold diversification as key factors. But risk remained due to falling oil prices, possibly forcing the government to cut spending or borrowing. Iraq's new local payment card, Dinar card, launched. Iraq has introduced a local payment card in dinars, monitored by the central bank, and as an alternative to Visa or MasterCard. This card reduces foreign transaction fees, strengthens domestic financial data control, and supports Iraq's border push for banking reforms and digital salary payments. Officials stress that this is not isolation, but monetization. Raising political tensions before the elections. The real question is, will tensions threaten the elections? With elections nearing, the Baghdad-Erbil oil and salary disputes is becoming a flashpoint if unresolved. It may derail national unity, inflame regional reinstatement, and undermine voter trust. Political observers warn that the escalation tensions, especially with the potential ministerial withdrawals, could lead to larger constitution and electoral crises. Later on that week, Kurdistan talks failed again. Iraq ranks high in gold. Gold reserves grow. The World Gold Council reports Iraq holds 162.7 tons of gold, ranking 29th globally and 4th among the Arab nations. Iraq's gold accounts for 16.8% of the reserves, supporting financial stability aimed at global economic shifts. The central bank gets credit. Monetary progress praise. The IMF praises Iraq's central bank for enhancing liquidity tools, monitoring trade finance, and narrowing the official versus parallel exchange rate gap. Continued reforms are needed in bank governance, AML, CFT, and the private sector lending capabilities. Electricity sector reforms urged. Power grid push. Chronic energy inefficiencies hurt growth. The IMF advises Iraq to reform billing, increase tariff gradually, and target subsidies. Monitoring the power grid and boosting gas productions is the key to energy independence and productivity. And you've been watching Newsroom Weekly Review. I'm Chella Smith with your Middle East, U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics of Iraq, bringing you all the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm here on YouTube every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe and turn those notification bells on. If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. If you really like our content, you can always see a super chat or a super thanks in the comment section below. Again, thank you for being a subscriber, and thank you for visiting Newsroom Chella Smith for your trusted Dinar news. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, we are on Patreon daily. Take care. Make sure you join us Fridays, 4 p.m. with Newsroom updates with Chella Smith Entertainment